What's up, guys? It's your man KP67s bringing you another video today. And yes, I know it's been, I think it's been like a week and a half or so. I'm in the middle of studying for board exams right now. So for me, it's a little bit more difficult to actually put out YouTube videos, but I figured I've gotten some requests for this. So I thought I would put out a quick first order video here going over the newest character that was released, the First Order Executioner in this case, aka the Panda, aka First Order Panda, aka, I don't know, whatever else you want to relate to a panda. So looking at the First Order Executioner, he is an attacker for the First Order here. And when you look at his stats here, keep in mind I don't have all his armitex on him just yet. You can see that his strength, obviously he is an attacker at GOE. Agility and tactics will be lower than his strength in this case. As you can see here, I'm still in the midst of like kind of modding him. He's like, you can see his speed is kind of whatever. His health and protection are pretty decent for an attacker. His critical damage, I jacked right up to 216% because as a First Order character, when you put him in a team, he's going to end up getting advantage at some point or another pretty consistently, so he's going to be critting a lot. His potency's up a bit just from secondaries, and that's fine. His physical damage is up to about 3260 at this point. Again, I could bump that up a little bit more. His physical critical chance leaves a little bit of room to be desired, but again, on a First Order team, spamming advantage, physical critical chance isn't that big of an issue sometimes, but it depends on how you play the First Order in that case. Looking at his armor, it's actually pretty decent, almost 31% there, so, you know, he can take a few hits as an attacker, which is pretty nice. And then we have special damage and resistance, to which is kind of whatever at that point. So, where can you find the First Order Executioner? Well, lo and behold, he has actually been released as a free-to-play character finally. You can find him in the Cantina. Of course you can find him in the Cantina. But much like Crew, he's actually at a low Cantina node. He's located in Battle 2G, which means that he's relatively cheap to get. He's only about 8 energy, so he's a pretty quick farm if you start focusing on him now and moving forward. So, you know, it should be pretty quick to get him to 7-star and really make use of him, as most attackers most benefit at the highest star level because you're maxing out their stats fully in that case. When you look at the First Order Executioner's gear here, he's actually not a ridiculous gear at all. Getting him to gear 10 was like kind of a joke. You're just like, whoa, like how did this happen? He needs 3 stun cuffs, the worst thing. He needs, I believe, 2 of the Mark 9 data pads, and he needs 2 hypo syringes. He really doesn't need anything else, guys. I think he needs like a Carbonti, a Comlink. Like, he does not need those big, ugly, like, Carbonti stun guns, stun cuff combos, which just make you want to pull your hair out and just, like, throw yourself off a bridge. But, you know, overall, he's a pretty quick gear, to be honest. And if you already have him unlocked, I would definitely push up his gear as soon as possible because it won't be that far away until you can get him to gear 12 very quickly once you 7-star him. So yeah, he's definitely a character I would invest in just by the sheer ease, relative sheer ease, that you can gear him. So looking at his abilities here, we start off with his basic, Judgment. Deal physical damage to the target enemy and you gain health up, 30% health up for 1 turn. If the target is debuffed, this attack is guaranteed to be a critical hit, and First Order Executioner gains advantage to 2 turns. Now, remember what I was just saying about spamming advantage everywhere? He can spam advantage by himself. First off, he's guaranteed to be a critical hit if he's hitting a debuffed character. Pair him with debuffers, Kylo Ren Unmasked, Special Forces TIE Pilot, regular Kylo Ren when he stuns people. There's like, you know, there's a few options for you to be able to spam out some debuffs in order to maximize Fox's damage in this case, as well as the fact that he gains health up. Now, health up seems kind of strange, but we're going to get into why that's important here. His first special here is Death Sentence. So he deals physical damage to the target enemy, and he removes 50% turn meter and he dispels all buffs on them. If this attack defeats an enemy, First Order Executioner gains 80% turn meter, and the cooldown of this attack is reset. Otherwise, so if he doesn't kill him, he gains 40% turn meter and 20% max health stacking until he defeats an enemy. So there's a lot going on here with this special. First off, it's a dispel special. If you don't kill something right off the bat, you slow them down right away, and you dispel whatever buffs they may have on them. It's great for ripping taunts off of tanks in that case, as well as slowing them down to prevent them from possibly putting a taunt back up or doing something to kind of like, you know, disrupt your attack in that case. If he does kill them, he gains 80% turn meter and he gets a cooldown reset, which means that he can use this again and again and again. Because think about it, if he crits with this move, okay, 80% turn meter, he gains plus 20% under Kylo Ren Unmasked lead for critting. So he gains 100% turn meter every time he kills something if he's critting every single time. So he's essentially like, if you think about it, he's kind of like Darth Maul, a little bit more provisional than Darth Maul, but in effect, every time Darth Maul kills somebody, he gets to go again. The Fox here in this case, he does the exact same thing. And otherwise, he's gaining, again, more max health, which stacks until he kills somebody. Now, again, you're seeing all this health stacking, health stacking, health stacking. Why is this important? Now we get into his unique, Total Order. When First Order Executioner scores a critical hit, he gains plus 10% max health stacking until the end of the encounter, and First Order allies gain 10% turn meter. So he's a turn meter generator. Every time he crits, everybody gets 10% turn meter, which is really good at kind of boosting everybody's speed up as a result. Now here's the kicker right here. First Order Executioner has bonus offense equal to 5% of his max health. So every time you use an attack, and if you don't kill somebody with First Order Executioner, you can stack your health over and over and over again until, you know, you've got like this insane health pool, and by extension, his offense is also going to keep going up and up and up and up, which means that his critical hits are going to do more and more and more damage, which is eventually going to turn him into this insane powerhouse where he can just like knock people out with his basic for like 40k, you know, like it's insane how much damage he does. He has to ramp up to it, but with the fact that you have very useful utility characters like the First Order Officer or the Special Forces TIE Pilot to either give him turn meter or call an assist from him, you can stack his damage very quickly as a result. So you could see here that by modding him a specific way, by adding in a little bit more health than anything else, you're actually going to gain quite a bit of offense in the process, as well as making him that much more sturdier to attacks as well. So after having gone through the abilities here, we're going to go over his modding, and you can see here that I have health, obviously, health mods added in here. He's got 4 critical damage, 2 health in this case. I've got speed on the arrow. I've got critical damage on the triangle. I've got offense on the cross. He's an attacker. I like that. And I put protection here on his circle. You know, you could make the argument that, you know, you could give him extra health, but in all honesty, I think that it would work out better if you gave him a little extra health in his secondaries in this case. So, and here's again kind of a kicker a little bit. You can give him flat offense as well. Flat offense, flat health, speed, and the last one kind of in the air for you if you want protection, if you want critical chance. Either one of those would do fine for the secondaries, and I think that would be the kind of idea, and based on what you want to do, whether or not you want more protection or whether or not you want him to just kind of like output more crits more consistently, even if he doesn't have advantage, that's entirely up to you. But I think the speed, I think the health, and I think the offense are 3 big secondaries that you should be looking for when it comes to modding Fox here in this case. So with respect to his uses, I actually see the First Order Executioner as a replacement for regular Kylo Ren in a First Order team. Or one of the pilots in that case. If you wanted to run a pilot with Fox, if you wanted to run 2 pilots, if you wanted to run Kylo Ren with a pilot, if you wanted to run Kylo Ren with Fox, you have so many different attacker options now, as long as your core, keep this in mind, as long as your core First Order includes Kylo Ren Unmasked, Fu, First Order Officer, and Faust, the First Order Stormtrooper. That core, those 3, I think are very essential towards maximizing everybody else in that case. And Fox here in this case, I like to pair him with the Special Forces TIE Pilot because, again, I can kind of ramp up his damage by calling him for assists. I can give him turn meter by First Order Officer. And, you know, just by kind of speeding him up like that, tossing debuffs every which way, you're just increasing the amount of damage that Fox can do very quickly, which means that he's going to output a lot and do devastating amounts of damage. He's not a cannon through and through, just like First Order TIE Pilot. First Order TIE Pilot will start hitting big right off the bat. Fox here has to ramp up, but the fact that he gives turn meter on crits, an extra 10%, which is no small amount. It seems small, but with everything else in terms of turn meter that the First Order has going, really I think the only thing they're missing now is an effective cleanser. First Order Officer is nice because he can cleanse with his special, but they need a group cleanser, something similar to, you know, a Rex. If they can get something like that, I feel like that would take First Order to the next level at that point. But overall, Fox, I think, is very worth it. If you don't want to farm either of the pilots, he will do perfectly fine as your attacker. He will do a ton of damage once you ramp him up and mod him accordingly. And, you know, I have no regrets pushing him up and getting him in Gear 12. I use him in the Dark Side territory battles. I use him in territory wars. The only place I haven't really messed around with is Arena, but that's because I just don't have him modded up. I don't have my First Order modded up for Arena. But, you know, maybe one day I will get to that point. I don't like switching mods. I like farming, so that's that. So, that concludes this review, guys. I hope you really like my little discussion about the First Order Executioner here. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you have a comment or if you'd like to see another Dark Side character a little bit more sooner, like I said, I'm in the middle of board studying. I'm writing my boards in about a month's time. So I may not be able to get out like 3 videos a week like how I was planning. But if I can get one to 2 out a week, I'd be happy with that. But let me know down in the comments what you think, and if you're new and you like the video, I'm sorry I'm a little long-winded, but I promise I'm not this long-winded. But if you do like the video and you want to see more, please go ahead and subscribe. I sincerely appreciate it. Trying to get to that 1,000 just to be able to say, hey, I did it, got to 1,000. And yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. Have a good day.